Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome. Welcome back if you have. I know it's a little dark, but obviously then that shines a little bit of a reflection. I don't know if that's better or worse, but I'll turn on a little bit of light for now. So my intention with all of these videos is for benevolence for all, in alignment with the highest levels of love light. And it's just to kind of raise our awareness around ascension, and I just share messages that come through my higher guidance team, light language, energy sharing, whatever it might be that I'm guided to do. And I've been guided to go into a little bit more about these whiteboards. So if you're looking for a light language video, I would go back and watch one of the other hundreds of videos that I've posted. This will be a frequency activation in harmonics, in knowingness, versus and the tone that I just use in speaking this from my truth. And I'll go into that a little bit more detail perhaps in a later video. Some of you will understand right away what that means, and for those of you that don't, it's okay. It's not a big, it's all I'll put it together in a video so it's a little bit more clear, we'll say. So as I was in flow this morning, I had seen pictures coming in to my mind, and I had seen starseeds that are awake, being wrapped in this beautiful cocoon of pink energy, and I always think of that as the heart. And I had seen the message that came through was that we're in troughs, and I'll be posting this perhaps on a blog as well. I recorded it in flow, so I'll go into a little bit of inflow style as well. But what I was seeing was this wave of energy, and picture I was seeing myself in this trough, which is the bottom of the wave, but it's like the valley of the wave, but not in the sense of, we think of peaks as being high and valleys as being low. But I think of a valley as also like a protected area, a shielded area of resonance. And what came through was to picture myself being rocked in a hammock. So if you're an awakened starseed and visualize being rocked back and forth in a hammock, imagining that is what it feels like when you're in a space of coherence. It's this flow of ebb and flow. And so you're not like swinging high and then back down and then up and following these really high and really lows. Right now, what I'm feeling is less of that, and then I'm exhausted. We're kind of in this influx of energy right now. And this is eventually the message that came through, where we would like to be, where we are going, where when we can stay into a space of resonance or coherence, we will be, or we are. And so when we're in our heart, we emit, om sound, vibration, a heart frequency, a bandwidth that essentially creates a toroidal field. And I've talked about this before. It's Casual Friday. We're going into a little toroidal field here. Okay, so it looks like an apple, and that energy goes out around us just like the magnetic field around the earth. What does the magnetic field do around the earth? It's a shield, right? Not like we have to be shielded or protected. It's just a natural occurrence that happens. It's a bandwidth that we send out into the field around us that goes about 5 to 8 feet, if I'm not mistaken. I've done videos on that before. This is becoming a new theme of mine to get into. And so we're sending out these bandwidths, which makes us essentially link into those frequencies that others are emitting, that the earth, that the heartbeat of the earth is emitting, if this is kind of linking into that. So I saw us rocking back and forth in these hammocks and just being supported by this rocking motion. And it's a flow. It's not a, it's a stillness, but the word that came through was it's a relaxation. It's a feeling of being in flow. This wave can be known as an energy and activation, or they kind of guided me to say composition, musical scale. And so we're kind of being held in this harmonic exchange of energy. And the more we can be in the heart space, the more we exchange our heart energy with this wave. Okay? And I'll come back to that in just a minute. So here's this wave, right? And when we're in our heart, we're exchanging with this wave. And it's sending out these signals, which then essentially does this and puts us on the wave. Okay, it's a whole other. So I then saw this as a natural magnetic field because a lot of people are, so before I get into that, so we have a lot of EMF frequencies and non-benevolent for all frequencies that just are what they are, no judgment or you know, bad or good. They're just frequencies that are coming out of our cell phones or computers, sounds, machinery, equipment, all of this other, we'll call it static, okay? It can also be in the form of energy, but that's another video I've talked about in the past. So I drew that up here. That's this black line that's like static. And what that does is if that comes through here, all right, it can, if we're not here and it can pull us out of that, you know, we feel it more because this magnetic field that we're generating around us, this torus field, this heart energy is essentially just not allowing that energy field to really connect with us. And I'm going to go a little deeper into that. These are all the star seeds that are in the hammock and they're in the heart cocoon. And they're in that space of allowing and going with the flow. Okay. And there's a lot of star seeds out there that are in this space right now. And that's what our intention is, to hold that space, to anchor those energies. I also saw this once I drew this as earth, right? As a layer of the earth. When you plant seeds, you make these troughs, which is of course resonant with star seeds. So these star seeds have embedded themselves into the earth. I just met this beautiful star seed. Instead of grounding, he calls it planetizing. So thank you, Robert, for that. I love that. And so you might be planetizing or grounding or anchoring. You know, we're just embodying this heart energy. And essentially that is embedding into the earth's layers. So then when the earth receives all of this transmitting of technology, it also helps to then picture this heart energy going into the layers, and it creates roots or star seeds, energetic roots that then imbues into the earth frequency, which then strengthens the Schumann resonance or harmonizes with the Schumann resonance and allows the earth magnetic energy to essentially expand, become stronger, or when we had been talking before about the grids, we're anchoring these energies into the grid systems, which are around us, the matrix, if you will, the geometries that we are surrounded in or make up, right? So there's lots of different perspectives that we could go through, but picture as a star seed melting into that heart space, sending out that energy into the earth, and anchoring those energies, embodying those energies as above, so below. Now, this also assists the star seeds by being in that heart space of not being affected so much by those outer, we'll call it white noise or distractions, this non-resonant harmonic that's all around us. So it's a natural barrier, so to speak. Now you have these other beings maybe they're late workers, whatever. They're just a little unhappy. They're high and they're low, and they're high and they're low, and they're high and they're low. And I've gone through this. You might be going through this now. You might have just gone through this. And when that happens, those highs and the lows, it's easier to get pulled off course because this heart energy isn't activated. It's mostly head energy. And if you think of brain waves and brain patterns, there's a lot that goes on here that can bring us out of coherence, and then we get frazzled because we're feeling these energy waves come in, right? We're feeling when there's a sun, a solar flare, we can feel the energy. When there's a big shift in collective consciousness, we feel it. And for those of those beings out there that are empathic, which we all can be empathic, right? And you're sensitive to it, and you're not grounded or planetized or earthed, as we might want to call it, it essentially then pulls, it can pull. And these people feel more like, right? And of course, as I say this with love, we've all been there. So we as starseeds, when we hold this harmonic in the heart, it assists these other beings who are having difficulty. They're not surfing the wave, they're stuck in the white water, right? So as I drew this, I also saw that on another scale, not only is this a musical scale and we're creating these musical harmonies, I also saw this as in relationship to heart math. So I just talked with a friend of mine, Kat, who's a heart math coach, and you know, I always bring up heart math because it's so powerful. And I drew this and I didn't even realize this is coherence. So essentially in heart math, and apologies to you heart math coaches out there, I'm not maybe describing it exactly right, but it's coherence. I may not even be spelling it right. And that's backwards because I'm on film, but it's coherence, or you might want to call it being in resonance. And this can represent the flow of, let's say, the heartbeat, okay? And what in heart math, they don't just look at the rate of the heart, they look at the space in between. And I'm going to share screen really briefly so that you guys can see. If you go to heart up, I just almost stopped the video. I hope I didn't stop the video. I didn't. So if you go on heart math, you see in this this drawing that there's this heart rate variability, right? And they call it the heart's changing rhythm. And they talk about a lot of science around it. So I encourage you guys to go to heartmath.com. And it just talks a lot about heart rhythm patterns and emotions. And I'm going to say right here, this is what frustration looks like. And this is what appreciation looks like. This is coherence. This is the static. Not that we're not allowed to feel this way, but by us getting back to the basics, which is what the message has been coming through, and allowing ourselves to essentially be in a space of appreciation for what is showing up in our lives at that moment, will pull us out of this static and bring us back into our cocoon of appreciation. And they're talking about it being a sine wave-like pattern, heart rhythm coherence, and it's a psychophysiological coherence state. And it talks a lot, I mean, it's really cool. It's now they say coherence is not relaxation. I was using relaxation as a term to kind of compare what relaxing feels like versus what not relaxing feels like, relaxing into the flow of things. So when we go into coherence, this is what it looks like. So they were trying to show me and pull the two together. That when we're in coherence, there's this cocoon of energy that goes around us like a torus field, like an apple, like the magnetic field around the earth. And then when these solar flares happen, or when there's earth changes that happen, or there's major upheavals in the collective, we are still in that space of coherence because we're in appreciation, we're holding gratitude and holding space for those others who are struggling. And That's the message that's coming through right now. So the more we can be in here, and it really does come into thinking it as a musical harmony. They were also kind of talking about tuning and toning and how important music can be to change the heart. I was hearing just like a white-winged dove, that piece from Fleetwood Mac, right? And it's peace. A dove represents peace, the wings and that white energy, and blocking out that white noise and just incorporating, or not blocking out the white noise is relaxing. It's all that disharmony. Tuning into 432 hertz versus 440 hertz, right? Tuning into, I believe the others, oh, I can't remember. I have the tuning fork somewhere, but there's a higher heart as well. I always confuse it. But either way, the message is get into the heart. It's just coming through so strong because it's essentially also remapping this. So if you're, now this then creates a grid. Okay. It also allows us to connect with one another telepathically on a stronger connection. That's a whole other video. But we're linking up through this grid of coherence. Doesn't matter if we're 5 feet away or we're 50 miles away or whatever. This is happening. And as we do this, it brings this energy out in waves, like a ripple effect. And then this static, if all of us are creating these waves around us, like a rainbow, that static is then, that is broken up. It can't quite connect. It loses its strength. Pretty cool, huh? So I'm just going to end on that note. This was a K.I.S.S. Keep It Simple Starseeds video. I really did pretty quickly got it done. Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. I'll get to the Aurora, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather later. The Sleeping Beauty. I'm not done with Snow White, all the princesses, A Whole New World, Aladdin, right? Jasmine. But essentially, we've got this connection with Earth right now that is so important. And the more we feel this appreciation, gratitude for Earth, it is building these energies and unification and expansiveness up, and it makes everybody feel better. So let's play. In love and light, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. There's more where this came from, but we'll end on this note. In love and light, guys. Namaste.